You wake up on your own when you've slept enough. No alarm, no schedule, know where you need to be. You stretch and think about just one thing. What should I do today? For 99% of human history, that wasn't a philosophical question. That's how every morning began for about 300,000 years. The modern person spends around 90,000 hours at work. That's a third of all the time you're not asleep. And for almost all of history, work didn't exist. No salary, no boss, no career ladder. So what were people doing all day? Let's look at the facts. Let's start with something we can actually verify. In the 1960s, anthropologist Richard Lee went to the Kalahari Desert and tracked every hour of life among the Yuhuansi Bushmen. They hunted and gathered mongongo, the desert nut tree. On average, they spent 17 hours a week getting food. The rest of the time, they did whatever they wanted. In 1966, anthropologist Marshall Solins called them the original affluent society, not because they had a lot of things, because a little was enough. The same picture appeared everywhere researchers went. The Hadza in Tanzania, studied by Frank Marlowe, the Ashe in Paraguay, the Martu in Australia. Different continents, different climates. One result, 15 to 20 hours a week on survival. You probably work twice that. Someone will say, those are modern people. How do we know about ancient ones? Fair point. The answer is in the bones. Archaeologists compared the skeletons of hunter-gatherers and early farmers. The farmers were shorter. Their teeth were full of cavities from porridge and grain. Their spines showed signs of arthritis from repetitive labor, and they died younger. The hunters were taller, stronger, with healthier teeth. Their bodies are clear. There was less hard, monotonous work. But the most unexpected evidence was found where it had no business being. If survival consumed all their energy, there would have been no time for this. For art. In 1994, the Chauvet Cave was discovered in France, with drawings inside dating back about 36,000 years. Horses, lions, rhinoceroses, with shading, perspective, movement. Someone spent hours in the dark by firelight, drawing animals not for food, for beauty, for meaning. In Blombos Cave in South Africa, shell beads were found, about 75,000 years old. Nearby lay a set of ochre grinding tools, an ancient paint workshop, and a piece of ochre scratched with a diamond pattern. The earliest decorative pattern ever made by a human wasn't a tool. It was art. In Germany's Hohlfels Cave, archaeologists found a flute carved from a vulture bone, about 40,000 years old. Whoever made it understood music. Across Europe, Africa, and Asia, people created jewelry, beads, paintings, and carved objects that served no purpose in survival. They created because they had the time. Imagine an ordinary day. You wake at dawn beside a fading campfire. Breakfast is yesterday's meat and a handful of nuts, shared with everyone. If food is already available, there is no reason to hunt. Instead, you repair a spear, weave a basket, prepare hides, or simply enjoy the morning. There is no boss, no clock, only useful skills that earn respect. When hunting is necessary, it relies on endurance rather than strength. Hunters follow an animal for hours until it overheats. The meat is then carried back and shared with the entire camp. By midday, survival is mostly finished. The rest of the day is spent talking, laughing, playing with children, making jewelry, carving bone, or simply resting together. Anthropologist James Suzman found that the Yuhuansi spent around 6 hours each day simply being together. In a society without money or police, friendships were essential. If people trusted you, they shared food when times were hard. As night falls, the campfire becomes the center of life. Research by Polly Wiesner showed that while daytime conversations were practical, about 81% of conversations around the evening fire were stories, myths, distant journeys, heroes, jokes, and spirits filled the night. Around those fires, culture itself was born. People also slept differently. Before artificial light, sleep naturally came in two parts, with a quiet period of wakefulness between them. Modern experiments later confirmed that our bodies still return to this pattern when electric light disappears. A typical day required only 4 to 6 hours to find food and make tools, about 6 hours for family, stories, and friendship, and the rest for rest and sleep. People even had time to simply sit and watch the clouds. Then, around 12,000 years ago, everything changed. Farming allowed larger populations but demanded constant work. Fields had to be planted, weeded, harvested, stored, and protected. Archaeological evidence shows that the first farmers worked harder, became less healthy, and often lived shorter lives. Jared Diamond famously called agriculture the worst mistake in the history of the human race. Today, the average person spends around 90,000 hours working. Our ancestors spent only a fraction of that time securing food. They woke without alarms, created art because time existed, and measured success differently. We're the same species, yet we live completely different lives. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans woke up free. history. We are the first ones to set the alarm ourselves. Those people left their marks on cave walls. You can leave yours too. Hit subscribe. It only gets more interesting from here. See you at the next fire.